Hi friends, hope you are doing well. I'm Dr. Ganguly. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about the cost of doing a master's degree in the US, and specifically I'm going to talk about Master of Science degrees which many people want to do. Now there are a lot of people who finish their bachelor's degree and they want to further their education. They also want to obtain some research expertise by doing a master's degree. So the MS degrees in US, particularly in the STEM subjects, are very popular because if you do these MS degrees, you can also avail yourself of the 3-year practical training which you get on the F1 visa. So this is for international students. Now for US students, there are many scholarships out there for doing master's degree, but I'm sure you will also benefit from this video if you are somebody who is not able to get the scholarship. So it's going to give an estimate for the cost here. Now, very frequently I get a question from parents of students around the world that their kid wants to do a master degree from US and how much this is going to cost you. So I'm going to estimate this in 6 steps, and at the 7th step I'm going to total this to come up with an approximate number. Now I'm going to try to get the lowest possible amount here. So this is kind of a minimum estimate of the cost. So let us start with point number one, which is exams or tests. Now to get admission and scholarship in many US universities, even admission I should say, you need to give examinations such as the GRE, and if you are an international student, you may also need to give TOEFL or the IELTS exam. Now, some of these exams were made optional during the pandemic, but most of these exams are coming back. And I would actually say that GRE is an exam which is very important because it's one of the gatekeepers tests which makes sure that the US graduate school quality remains good. So what happens in US is that the STEM graduates, they have not only good quantitative skills but good verbal skills because they have to clear GRE, and the liberal arts, social sciences, humanities graduates not only have good verbal scores but they also need a minimum of quantitative scores because mathematization is actually penetrating across all social science and humanities fields. Now GRE scores are essentially free for 5 universities, so I would say you can apply to a set of 5 universities. That's kind of a minimum set if you want to save money. So for additional universities you are going to pay extra money. So the cost of GRE is $270. The cost of IELTS is about $205, and the cost of TOEFL is about $205. Now these costs vary depending on country and location. So these are some approximate numbers I have come up with. Now, if we total the cost of something like GRE plus TOEFL, which are the two exams I gave when I came to the US, then that's going to be about $475. So this is going to be the cost of giving GRE and TOEFL, and you are going to be entitled to some free universities where you can send these scores based on this particular amount. Now, do remember that you should spend a lot of time preparing for GRE and TOEFL. There are a plethora of guides out there from different bodies such as Princeton Review, such as Barron's, and so on. And also there are some coaching centers which provide different coaching for these exams. Now, if you are somebody who has been getting low scores, then try to brush up your score using these particular guides. Also, for all these exams, there are also some official guides out there which are extremely useful, particularly the test papers which they have, and you can also get a lot of free material in YouTube itself. So check out the material in GRE and TOEFL and so on. Now, point number two is about the application fee. And application fee of universities has been going up over the years. When I had applied long ago, the application fee used to be about $25 to $50, but nowadays the application fees is about $75 to $150. So if we take about $100 as a mean value for the application fee, then if you apply to 5 universities, that's going to get you about $500. Now, I should say that some people say that you should apply to 10 universities or even 15 universities, but I am suggesting a minimum here in case you are somebody who wants to save money. Also remember that if you apply to a few universities, you can target these universities better. And also depending on your own GPA, on your own GRE scores and so on, you can select the universities which are a good match to your capability. So this is going to save you a lot of money and also a lot of time. Now, let's say you send all these things, you send the application form, you apply to these universities and you get an admission. Now, you need to pay visa fee, and the F1 visa fee is about $185, and also there is a service fee of $350, so total about $535. Now, once you get admission to the university, they are going to send you a form known as the I-120 form, and you can use this at the US consulate to actually get your F1 visa. Do remember to prepare for the F1 visa, because there are a lot of people who are rejected in the F1 visa, about 30%. So you should account for that. And I have made some videos on F1 visa. I've made some videos on GRE. I'm going to put them in the end screen here. Now let's come to point number 4, which is traveling to US. And I would say it will cost you about $1,000 to get a ticket to US, and also make it a one-way ticket, because you need to only come one way at this point. Later you can decide if you want to go back for a vacation or something like that. And also make sure that you buy some visitor insurance at this point, because you are coming to a foreign country and you need to be covered in health insurance and some of these aspects till you figure out at the university what is the local insurance you should get. So the cost of coming to US is about $1,000, and if you bring about $1,000 in cash with you, that's going to be about $2,000. I recommend you don't bring too many things to US. You just pack up your old clothes and whatever other things you have. Maybe if you need some medication, you can bring that, because most of the things are actually cheaper in US, because US has very low tariffs. It has got a plethora of stores out there, and generally most of the products, for example laptop, iPad, iPhone, or anything else you need to buy, are going to cost you less in US. Now, presuming you have got a scholarship and assistantship, this is going to be your total cost, and this total cost actually comes to about 3,510, which we can round off to about 4,000 US dollars. So this is a cost. If you have got an assistantship, got a full scholarship, then this is the amount of money, or $4,000, you need to actually come to the US. Now let's look at the point if you haven't got an assistantship or scholarship which covers your living expense and tuition. Remember, if you get an RA or a TA, it generally will cover your tuition also. So that's something to keep in mind. So for example, now if we look at the case where you have not got any financial aid, then you have to pay the living expenses. And typically, if you look at the US system, you may have to rent a room, you may have to share a room with somebody else in a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom apartment. That's something which I used to do when I was a graduate student, and even today graduate students are essentially doing the same thing. So this is going to cost you approximately $1,000 a month, and this is a mean value. Again, if you are in places like New York and San Francisco, it's going to cost you much more. So one of the things you should of course try to do is select universities which are in regions which match your cost profile. So I would say in most regions which are not very expensive in the US, the cost is still going to be about $1,000 a month for renting. And this rent should include utilities. So do make sure that when you're renting an apartment, utilities are included. Utilities means power, water bills, and so on. Now, I would add another $500 per month for different expenses, such as expenses related to food and so on. And try not to buy a car, because this is a kind of black hole as far as expenses are concerned. A lot of money goes into insurance, a lot of money goes into maintenance of the car, and so on. So that's something to keep in mind. Try to use public transportation if you can. So I would say if we take about $1,500 per month for rent and utility and living expenses, then it comes to 12 into that number, it's about $18,000 for the year. So if you are doing a 2-year master's degree, that's going to be $36,000 for living expenses. Now let's turn to tuition fee. Now tuition fee varies a lot depending on the university. Typically, state universities have lower tuition fees, private universities have more tuition fees, but sometimes you may be able to get scholarships at private universities because they have large endowments out there and so on. So let us take an estimate here. So let us look at two popular universities among foreign students. So if we look at SUNY Buffalo, that is State University of New York at Buffalo, that's about $25,000 per year tuition. And if we look at University of Texas at Dallas, that's about $35,000 per year tuition. So let's take a mean value here and say $30,000 per year is going to be the tuition fee. And so that's going to be $60,000 for 2 years. So you see the biggest component in terms of expense is the living expense plus the tuition fee, which we have calculated to be about $36,000 plus $60,000. That's about 96,000 US dollars. Now, if you look at this 96,000 US dollars and you add it to the $4,000, which I talked about in terms of the exams, the application fee, the visa fee, and the air travel visitor insurance, then I would say $100,000 is a good round number which you can think you will spend if you plan to actually do the degree in US, if you're only applying to 5 universities, and also if you're somebody who is choosing a university which has relatively low tuition fee and which has relatively low living expenses. So that's a target amount. You can try to think about how you can get this money. There are many ways to get this money. If your parents have saved up a lot, maybe their mutual funds have gone up, maybe they have a lot of money out there, they can probably fund you, or you can take some education loan also. There are a plethora of education loans out there. And also, if you have been somebody who has been working for some time in companies, then you may be able to save some of this money also. So that's something which can always help you. So very often it is advantageous to work for a couple of years and then apply, because you also get some more experience, and getting a job after your master's degree is going to be easier, because it's not always easy to get a job after a master's degree in a foreign country. So do keep in mind that you are able to get back the money you have spent for your degree. Of course, if you are getting a scholarship, that's going to cost you very less. Like I told you, it's only about $4,000. Same if you go and do a PhD. But if you are somebody who is paying your way to do the master's degree, it may cost you about $100,000, and so you need to recover this money over the next few years and pay off any student loan and so on. So this was my take about the MS in US. I hope you benefit from the video. I will leave some videos on the end screen. Make sure you look at them, and I will see you in a video sometime.